Alright, so once again, welcome to my shop. Today we're going to be installing this Garmin Echomap UHD2 930 SV onto this 17-foot seapro bay boat. And we're going to be mounting it up here on the dash. So far I've pulled the boat into the shop. It's actually awesome. It's like 100 degrees outside and beaming sunshine here in Florida, and it's roasting and killing me. So I've actually pulled this entire boat into the shop and shut all the doors, and I've got the AC units blasting with office doors open. And it's not cold in here, but it definitely feels much better, man. Nobody's dying today. So what I've done so far is I've pulled this chase through the rigging tube, and I've got it coming out the back to pull the transducer through here. So I've got some electric tape, and let's see if we can get this transducer out of here. Customer brought me this, so I don't know what he's gotten into so far. Okay, here's the transducer. And shop is an absolute mess. This is the week before the 4th of July. So I've been hustling like crazy to get everything done. We are going out of town this weekend. And I want to get everything done so everybody's happy and can use their boat on the 4th of July. So when you're pulling a transducer, you're going to want to pull it from the back forward, never the other way, or you're not going to be able to, you'll never be able to get this transducer through the rigging tube. What you will be able to get most of the times through the rigging tube is the actual wire. And the good thing about the Garmin's is they don't have the big connector on the end of them. They do have it included in the box. Some units actually just plug in. I'm not sure which unit this is. Some of them have a round connector that's two pieces that plugs together once you've got this pulled to the front. So what I am going to do is go through this rigging tube here and find the route that I want to run. I'm thinking I'm going to mount the transducer right here. They had one here before. It's a good time to close these holes up. It's already got these channels ran up here to run my cable straight up, and then we're going to go this way. So I'm going to try to run it to a way where I'm not going to be fighting anything or tangled up once I get it all put together, because I won't be able to change it at that point. So I'm going to run it through this rigging tube first here, and then I got to find it underneath. I'd like to get this bimini top out of my way, but it was raining earlier before I pulled the boat in, and it's got water on it, so I'm trying to work around it. So I don't want to flip it up and get water all over me in the boat. Pretty dry right now. Oh, wow. All right. Hey, look at that. Pretty cool, man. That was easier than I expected. Very nice. So we're going to feed this through. Basically, I'm going to feed it through almost as much as I need completely, and then pull it through. That way I'm not fighting a bunch of turns and curves and various obstacles. All right, we got the power cable for the unit tangled up in here as well. All right, so this should all be transducer cable. And we're going to feed it. It's going to bind up and stuff along the way, so just keep feeding it and be patient. You don't want to tear anything up or cut the cable. So that's probably about enough right there. Now what I'm going to do, make sure I'm not over these fuel lines or anything like that. And looks like I got a pretty clear run now at this point. So I'm going to connect this to my chase that's going into the console. I might have to grab another roll of electric tape, but the way I like to do this is I start at the top, overlap it a decent amount so that it doesn't pull through as you're pulling it, because it'll get caught on things, and you force it a little more and you'll lose the chase. Alright, so I try to kind of cone it up here in the front. Gives it a little ramp, so to speak. I don't know how effective it is, but it's what I've been doing for a long time, so I just keep doing it. I keep expecting different results doing the same thing. There's a definition for that. Alright, so wrap your tape all the way around, and then I usually carry it onto my cable as well to help grab that. Hey, look at that. It worked out pretty good right to the end. That's what you call efficient. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my chase up front and start feeding her through. Yeah, that went pretty good. If I was watching this video, I'd be pretty upset because it's pretty rare that a chase will pull that easily through a rigging tube. You know, you're here for an hour fighting and cussing and bending and trying over, but today went well. Okay, so I'm going to get a razor blade and lightly cut my tape off here. You got to make sure you don't cut the wire itself. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, you can try to peel it back, but once you've pulled these chases, this tape is kind of tough to walk back. So just go real light and keep your blade mainly up against the actual chase wire itself the best you can. Just tape cuts easily. You're not trying to gouge in there. And don't expect to get it all on the first try. You can come back and trim some more. Better be safe than sorry. There's our wire. Okay. That worked out okay. One piece left on here. Alright. Okay, so now I'm going to get my chase out of the boat because I really don't want to fight it and trip over it and get poked in the eye. I usually make these chases out of old control cables. When we pull out controls, I cut the ends off. This was for a larger style control cable that actually had an insert. So I kind of like this one. It's real thin but thick at the same time. Okay, let's get our blade off the upholstery. Alright, very nice. So we've now got a wire through here. He says there's a big hole underneath this unit here, but he wants the unit over here. So I need to see what I can do about sealing this up for him without physically doing fiberglass or building a plate or something. It's not gonna be perfect. So I may end up just pulling this off, sealing it, and putting this back down. He said he's fine with that as well. We'll see how it looks and what we need to do. I will end up having to drill back here, and I think I have a clamshell or half clam to go over that. I'll see what style this unit uses. Okay, so my next step is going to be to mount this transducer. He wanted to do it himself, but he was having a hard time with the chase and pulling the wire. And he also wanted this engine service. He just got this boat. He had a leaking gas tank. We did a new sending unit on there. The sending unit was leaking. And he also wants that motor guide spot lock trolling motor mounted on the front. So I've serviced the engine already. This is all complete. Service, oil change, water pumps, etc. Put some brand new fuel lines on it. We are good to go there. The new sending unit is in. We're working on the fish finder right now, and then I'll tackle the trolling motor afterwards. Let's see what we need to do to mount this. I like to get my handy mechanics chair for doing this, and my reader glasses because I'm old, so I can see everything that I'm doing and have a nice place to sit while I do it. All right. Oh, there we go. I can see now. All right, so this is going to go, I think it goes like this. Okay, so that goes like that. Really not certain why they choose to do this way. It seems like it'd be a lot better like this, but this is obviously not the correct way to mount it. They literally want you to mount it like this, and then you have to roll your wire back. I don't understand why they don't put the wire that direction. I guess each manufacturer has their own reasoning for things, but this is one I've never been able to understand. If you're savvy on this concept and want to leave in the comments what you think the reason they do that for is, please feel free. I just can't figure it out. Okay, so these are our screws. They give you 6 screws with little star lock washers. Each one's going to get a star lock washer, and it's going to get put into the hole where it mounts. I don't use this drill to tighten them, I just use it to kind of speed up the process a little bit. They're machine thread screws, and there's a lot of twists on them. So definitely don't run an impact down on this. Okay, once we've got that bottom plate mounted, this is our bracket that's going to go up against the boat. And this is another hardware kit. These 2 screws are what hold it to the boat, and this is the one that goes through the top here to hold it tight in position. All of these are important. Okay, so when you get this done, your wire is going to roll back and it's going to snap in through there. I'm not going to put it on right now, just trying to get it, get an idea where I want to mount this transducer. You can actually drill this one with it all together. It doesn't necessarily require doing it separately. They put it on the side. Some of the units are really in the way of the transducer and you can't do them. So we're probably going to be mounting this unit somewhere right about the same exact holes they had, which is really cool. Might go up a little bit. We'll see when we're done. Pretty good position. So on this side, don't lose the washer. Okay, so now you're going to take the flat washer that came with your hardware and put it onto the bolt. And then you're going to put your rubber grommet on, and you're going to slide that through here. On the other side, you'll see it has a prep for the nut to hold the nut in place. So I'm not going to fully tighten this thing down yet. I'm just going to bring it about where I need to be. That way, because we're still going to need to adjust this thing possibly. Just get it round about where it's supposed to be. That way you can still tilt the transducer out of your way if you want to adjust some mounting holes. So now that we got this stuff together, I'm going to go down here and figure out where we want to mount it. I like to keep it pretty nice and flush on here and like it straight up and down. So it looks like we're probably going to have to go above our current marks that are there. I don't like the transducer to hang out below the boat. There's a lot of turbulence, a lot of things that can hit it and break it off. So I try to get it fairly level. I don't care if it's down just a little bit below there, but definitely don't run them underneath the boat. So let's go look at these screws and find a good bit that we can use to drill a hole to start these. And we're going to put some 5200 on them. And our 5200 is working perfect. I generally just kind of dip my screws into it anyways, so it should work out pretty good. I'm going to need a drill bit, and to select a right size drill bit, you're going to want to hold your drill bit up against the screw that you're drilling. You definitely don't want it to be larger than the screw you're drilling. You'd like for it to be a little bit lower or a little bit skinnier. Got this, got my rag. I'll make some holes in this boat. Okay, so you're going to hold your transducer up about where you want to drill it. I'll usually mark them with a Sharpie marker, but he's got a black wrap on here and it makes it kind of hard to see a black mark. So, but I've got plenty of room to mark it with my actual gun. So I'll put it about where I think it's going to be, and a lot of times I'll put it around the middle. That way I have some adjustment areas. And I'll mark it and make sure we are going to be square. And I'll mark it. Okay. I come back here and drill through. Don't need to go super far, about an inch, inch and a half or so should be plenty. Okay, so we've got these other holes that are here. It does look like somebody siliconed them up and sealed them, so that's good. This 5200 is kind of ugly, but 5200 is not going to stick real good to the silicone. These holes are fresh and they don't have anything in them, so we're definitely going to put some 5200 on that. We'll take our first bolt and I just dip it in the head of the 5200. Works pretty good for me. Yeah, it gets all gooey and nasty. 5200 is a pain to clean. If you get 5200 all over your hand, WD-40 takes it right off immediately. It's a secret I discovered a long time ago, and it's been my best friend ever since, because this stuff makes a mess. It's hard, and if you let it harden up on your skin and you get home, it's hell getting it off. So the other good thing is too is when you're actually done putting this stuff together, put a little WD-40 on a rag, and it'll also help to clean up the residue and the overlash. So make sure you turn the release off on your caulking gun when you're done using it, because it'll keep pumping. If you use a tube on a caulking gun, some people just buy the little 4-ounce tube and squish it out by hand. Silicone works as well. The objective here is to try to seal the transom to keep water from getting inside of it and rotting, or getting into the boat even, which could be even worse. All right, so I've got these things started. I'm going to take my buzz gun and speed this process up a little bit. This is a plastic housing, so don't use too much force on it. It will crack. Okay, so let's see. I think that's pretty good. The other thing is sometimes stuff gets in your way on tightening things, but I'm going to take this and click it up one click, and I'm going to run it down because I feel pretty good about this position, and also the angle it's at. Tighten ourselves down. Once you tighten this down, the little teeth inside of here grab, keeps it from going anywhere. So that's a pretty solid transducer, and it's at an excellent height. It does lean a hair this direction, so you can't always come back and loosen it up and rotate it. I'm unfortunately kind of OCD, so these things bother me. Which I think that's my downfall sometimes. But I like things to be nice and square and true. Alright. Just using a rag to clean that up. It's actually just smearing it, so I'll get a little WD-40 on there in a bit and try to clean off the excess. I've got a 30-40 minutes or more before the stuff even starts to set up, so it shouldn't be a problem there. Alright, so our wire now is going to roll back, and it goes underneath this little lock. Okay, so our wire will look like that. They've it's like they like their wire to go off to the side here, so I'm gonna actually reuse their mounts because they're pretty good mounts, and they seem to be sealed pretty good to this boat. Put this in there. I am gonna dab it again a little bit. Some 5200. Always seal your screws when you're going into boats. Very important. Water is your friend, and water is also your enemy. Alright, so I don't like how he has the other one over here. I don't want to do this number. I'd rather switch these two. It makes more sense to me. It's a little zigzaggy. I don't like that either, but I don't want to drill a whole bunch of new holes if we don't have to. We already have these going on the boat. So I'll do my best to try to square it up and make it look decent. Okay, so now I'm going to take some zip ties and probably tie these together so it looks like it belongs there. Feed my excess through the rigging tube. So the zip ties will hold the remainders of this stuff together. Use some small zip ties for this because the big zip ties are kind of gaudy sometimes, depending on the application. So first one I'm going to do is probably right here, bring these together. Find yourself a nice pair of flush mount cutters and clip your ties. Okay, so back here we are done. We are pulled through there. We're going to run a few zip ties in there to clean up the bilge area, and then we're going to go to the console. Alright, so we're back up here on the dash. Got our cable here. We're going to have to fish it through here. I have a 9/16 drill bit I'm going to try. Before we drill any holes, we need to set this thing up. I actually put the unit and everything up here so I can get a good idea where I'm going with it. It's hard to tell with just a mount. Okay, so this unit sits on there. It's got a groove at the bottom and a groove down here. It's going to sit onto that. Okay, so this rolls down and you lock it in. And that pulls it into the prongs to power the unit. So I'm going to turn these loose and adjust it like as if I was sitting on the boat. I'm the driver and I want a nice comfortable view. So I always give it a little twist over to me because I'm not trying to show the people in the back. In my opinion, I like that view a lot. I see it clearly regardless of the glare from the sun, and it's not obstructing me or taking my eyes away from the water. So I'm real happy with this position right here. Let's see if I can get a Sharpie marker in there and mark a few holes. Even if I can only mark a couple across from each other, that sometimes is good enough because you can put the mount back down with the unit off and have more space. So I want to mark one here, and I'm going to mark the second one in the back. If you got a marker with a smaller top to it, it might help because it's hard to get a Sharpie pushed down. Okay, so I've got two marks on there. I'm going to close the Sharpie so that it don't lay around the console making black marks. Pull my unit back off, put it in a safe place with the screen down, and I'm going to take this off completely so that I can see what I'm doing. Pilot bit for the ones on the transducer is going to be too big. We're going to use smaller holes here. I'm going to place this unit back down where I believe it was supposed to be and mark the other two. Perfect. So I got 4 marks on there. Close your Sharpie up. So before you drill through the top of your console, you're going to want to look inside, make sure that you're clear and you don't have wires or anything mounted up there that you might end up drilling through. I am clear. Very good. Center your holes. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that looks like that's going to mount well. So my wires, I'm going to want them to probably, you can actually feed them underneath this unit. So if my mount is going to be right here, I'm going to say that my wires will be drilled right here. All right. Right about the center. So that's where we're going to use our larger drill bit to run our wires through. I did get a clamshell out of the box to see if Sometimes I use a clamshell to mount them in, but this one's underneath here, so it hides it real well, and we'll seal it up. Run a big drill down. Okay, we can get through there now and it shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so I needed to drill this hole big enough to get this fuse through there. I could have cut this fuse, but if I don't have to, I really don't want to. Pull it apart though, make it a little easier. This part through first. Part, okay, ground wire. So this is our actual power cable for the unit. And then our transducer needs to come up from the other direction. And we want to make sure it's running in a good orientation inside of this console so that when we pull it up there, we're not wrapped around a bunch of things, and we can tighten our rigging up, which definitely needs it in here. Okay, feeling good about that. Okay, so once we got our wires through here, we're going to need enough to go to where we're going. Just going to go like this. So it is going to cover up our wires, but I need to get it sealed up. I'm going to put a goop of 5200 on there. And I'm going to set this into here. I believe that's a decent length. It might be a little over, but that's okay. And we're going to press this down. This will also help to hold this mount. Not that it should need any assistance, but can't hurt. Alright. Let's get our mount mounted. Between that and the 5200, this thing ain't going anywhere. So we should be pretty sealed. Another thing I like to do that you may not have to do. So this is not really a requirement, but this is what I like to do. Is I'll take one of these zip ties that's got the loop on the end of it to screw it down, and I run it behind my unit on the base, and I'll screw my wires there to keep them from pulling out or getting yanked. Yeah, it makes me feel better. And I've got a big goop of 5200 underneath here, so nothing should get in there water-wise, hopefully. Let's see if our unit actually fits. That'd be a good thing. So first we're going to put our mount in here. So first we're going to hook our mount up. So this is our power wire. And when you go to plug these in, they'll have little nubs on them where they line up, and once you get them lined up, they'll start to press in, and you're going to twist this down to lock it in place. Now this was the transducer one, and like I was talking about earlier, they keep the barrels separately. They take them off there so it's easier to pull that transducer. But when you're done, you're going to want to put this on here, and you'll see a groove inside of this, and on that groove you'll see a matching one on the inside of this. That's the direction that goes, and then you're going to roll it around and lock it. If it comes apart like that, don't worry, they still clip in. So that's how that one goes. So they're color coded as well. This is an orange one, only goes one spot. Same thing, you line up your little barrel. Inside of here you'll see a notch, and inside of the hole you'll see a little arm or a little piece of plastic sticking down, and that's what you're going to line up and then twist your threads down to pull your transducer tight. Alright, so all my wiring is tight. And put our mount in here. on the angle we wanted. I think it was around there. Mount is solid. And then we're going to once again line our bottom groove up in this unit down with this. Set it there. Press this up. And push it back. Lock it in. So there we have it. Our unit is mounted. Alright. Looking pretty nice. Now we have to go in here and feed power to our navigation unit and then tighten our wiring up underneath. Start taking some of the things that won't need off the boat. I will need this stuff. And they say it's that the radio, he put a brand new radio in, but that doesn't power on either. So I'm guessing he doesn't have the power hooked up correctly. So while I'm doing all this, I'm also going to hook the power up on the radio as well. So now I got to get into this console. I've been laying along here, man. These doors are locking me in place. Everything about it's been a nightmare. So I was trying to avoid it because there's not a lot of connections, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this seat out. I need some space. I might actually take this door off too, not this whole door, although that's not a bad idea. No, they through bolted it. If I hit these, it'll get these out of my way, but right now I've got a lot more space than I had before. So I'm going to get in this console and try to make some sense of it. I'll get a light so I can put you guys in here. Also going to grab a multimeter so we can find active power. He said the radio wasn't working either, so either he didn't hook it up correctly or there's something wrong with this fuse panel in here. Alright, so it ain't perfect, but it gives you guys the idea of what I'm doing down here. This madness. So here's the radio. He says that it's not powering on. And I hit the button and he's correct. It's not powering on. So out of the back of the radio you should have a positive, memory, and a ground. And I didn't hook this up, so I don't know how he hooked it up. So he's got a wire to the ground. You see a black to a red here. Not sure what the heck he's got going on. This is just totally a mess. I don't know what all this excessive red wire wrapped around is either. And I want to rewire this boat, but that's what this thing needs. It really needs a good rewire. This is kind of ridiculous. So let's see if get our multimeter and see if we've actually got power going. Usually there's a memory wire as well. I don't know if this radio just has a positive and negative. I didn't mount it. I don't know anything about it yet. But I'm going to try to see if I can make sure we have power at all. Okay, so positive and negative. We have no voltage. Alright, we have no voltage at all to our main power. So it's not that he doesn't have his radio hooked up correctly. He's got no power at all to this panel or no ground. One of the two. See if our main leads, looks like they're both going back into the back. So let's find out what's up with them. If this is a positive for the boat, it should be on a battery switch with a fuse. So I've got one right here. That is going somewhere, and I've got another one with a fuse right here. This is probably for an auto bilge. What a terrible place for this fuse and all this stuff, to be honest. Alright, so I pulled the battery switch off, and this is what I'm finding on the back side. I don't know why boat companies ever thought mounting the batteries inside the bilge is a good idea. They should always be in the console or in the dry area. This is the this is going to the motor, this is going to the auto bilge, and this is going to the main power up front. So it looks like I'm going to need to, I guess he's only got one battery. So I need to start cleaning this, and obviously going to need to redo that connection. That's pretty much junk. and that's, I'm hoping, to be the reason why this is not working. I'm going to get my head cam back on and start working on this so you guys can see that. First thing I'm going to do is pull this green bolt off of here. I can hold it. So hopefully we have some power. Which will make me even happier is if the radio now powers on, so I don't have to mess with that. Because this boat is having a lot of gremlins, and I am tired of gremlins. It's not even just in need of a rewire. It's really choppy. I'd also like to relocate the batteries to the front of the console. There's 2 batteries in there now, but there should be enough room for 1 more. I don't like batteries in the back of a boat at all. I think it's stupid. In the back, in a dry, high compartment, that's fine, but down in the bilge of your boat is probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And it's not uncommon. They used to love doing this back in the day. They put their live wells in the back, and they stuffed your batteries down in the bilge. And there's a live well seems to be more important than actually being able to start your boat or bilge it out. Alright. So our switch is on. Let's see what this ground was I just had in my hand. Looks like another dilapidated wire. Alright, let's cut this off. Strip it back. New heat shrink. So let's heat our heat shrink. Okay. I'm guessing this went down to the ground on the battery, which is barely accessible. Sad as how bad all this wiring is, and then on top of it I had a fuel leak from the sending unit. So we had gas in the bilge and wiring like this. I'd have been real cautious if I bought this boat. Okay, so we should have a positive and a negative now, hopefully, at our fuse panel. I really hope. Multimeter's on. Come on, baby. Yep, 12.56 volts. Much better. Let me see if you guys can see this multimeter. Had 0 volts the last 8 times I've tried this, so this is actually kind of nice to see. Alright, so now we got power there. So let's see if his radio power's on. If the radio power's on, then I can start wiring the navigation unit into the fuse panel. Hey, look at that. Welcome. Much better, much happier boat. Woo, what a pain, man. Alright, so now I'm going to try to get in here and clean this mess up a little bit and get this nav unit wired. Hopefully everything goes well. I'll try to get this camera at some angle so you guys can see some of it. Alright, so our power wire for our nav unit. This is our transducer wire, which is nicely out of the way so I can wind it up. Here is our power for the transducer, or for the nav unit. And I'm going to run this down here and back around. Okay, I'm going to have to put some ends on here. I need to connect the ground, and I'm going to put it right here We are fused right here with the appropriate fuse for the unit, so if I have a 10 amp or something here, I'm not going to worry about it too much, because this fuse will blow before 10 amps if there's an issue. So let me get some ring terminals on here and a Phillips screwdriver. Alright, so I got a couple ring terminals heat shrinked on here now. We go up first to our ground. Use caution when you're turning these out of these fuse panels and things like that. These little machine screws fall and get lost, and they're tough to find when you need to find it. So I'm going to grab my ground first. I usually put it through the terminal and kind of hold the terminal as one assembly and set it back in place, start the threads, and then adjust my wire. That's my first connector. I'm going to run down here where this 10 amp fuse was. Going to utilize that. There's nothing really on this fuse box to begin with much. And that's where our positive is going to go for the nav unit. Once again, put your screw through it and use this whole thing as a guide. It is helpful. It might not work the same for you, but it works good for me. And before I try to tighten this up or bundle any of this, let's see if this nav unit works. Oh man, that is a sight for sore eyes. Victory. Very good. What I'm going to do now is try to tighten up some of this wiring. It is a mess and it's not going to look good when I'm done, but it's not going to look like this. This is ridiculous. Plus I want to take the slack from my nav units, and I usually bring that up top and I zip tie it up high so that it's out of the way. Just kind of bind it up, find a nice solid object up top that you can hook it to, and run your zip ties through. I don't like a lot of excess laying all over the boat. That's when you get what we have here today: failure to communicate. Alright, there's one. Flush cuts and cut the excess. And I don't like the zipper look, so I roll my zip ties. Well, my idea of nice wiring is wiring you do not see, not wiring that looks like art form with 50 connections along the way. I know it's real pretty, but I prefer direct connections from my switches to my pumps or my lights. Alright, so this is cleaned up a bit. It does not look pretty, but it is more stable. Our navigation unit works beautifully. Our radio works beautifully. And I've accomplished my mission. Oh, so I'm going to clean up all my mess. I am going to be wiring the trolling motor next, so man, what an improvement just getting this stuff in here. It's kind of a pain for such a simple project, but it is done. So that's my installation of this navigation unit on this boat. I think it came out pretty good for what I was working with. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing boat repair videos for quite some time, unless I win the lottery. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.